I often go into the in-depth on the demographics of the reader. I'm not going to do that in this presentation, except for maybe I'm going to break it out for ebooks a little bit. We do have reports coming, and one of the reports we have coming is an in-depth reader profile by genre, demographics by book buyer by genre. So that will be coming out probably next month in April. The demographics of the general book buyer in Canada haven't really changed. You can look at the ebook buyers, which I'm going to do in a second, and they trend a little bit differently, and they've been changing. But the general book buyer tends to be female, tends to be higher educated, tends to make more money, all of those things. But we have really in-depth, and I think it gets really interesting when you break it down by category and genre. And so we've done that in a report, but it can get very detailed. So 1 in 3 Canadians buy a book each month. That hasn't changed in the 2 years we've been surveying. What has changed, interestingly enough, is that in 2013, book buyers bought about 3.9 books a month. That's up from 2.87 in 2012 on about 4,000 people, about 12,000 purchases. So it's a fairly significant. Women buy more than men, a half a book more per month than men. So what did they buy? This is interesting. You can see our ebook number overall, this is across all purchases across a year, has grown about 2%. Paperback is going down, and hardcover stayed level across those 2 years. And we see that both in our consumer panel and also in our print book retail sales data panel. 18% of adult fiction was sold in ebook format. And overall, this is what ebook trendline looks like for the last 2 years in Canada. So we've bounced from about 18% of units, this is unit sales, 18% of units to about 13% of units, averaging across the 2 years. 16% of all the units were sold in ebook format or acquired in ebook format. And you've heard the plateauing and the flatlining. This is what we're seeing as well in the Canadian marketplace. And there was some talk about that this morning. We are just not seeing it rise at the rate we did before. It has been rising, but it's been rising at about 2% of units, as opposed to what it was the years before, which we don't have great data. But if we look at the US data, it grew really, really fast and plateaued off. And we're seeing a very, very similar across the 8 quarters we've been surveying.